And top of the strategy is to work as if they are not there. Until they feel it.
They come looking for you.
And then they feel, until, that's how Raila works. Until you actually run towards it. Do 3 polls. So we do the average. In the first poll, Matiang'i will have almost 65%. In the second poll, it will now get to 70. The third poll is 75. I laugh because even the company, the DP keeps, that's not a front. That's not a formation to go and fight Matiang'i, especially in his homeland. You need more serious people. With a stroke of a pen,
yes,
as the saying goes.
Yeah.
Hi cousins. Hi cousins.
Yeah.
Makuzo mpo. Kwisha, he has demolished that. That one imeisha.
Yeah.
He's no longer a Mulima person.
Yes.
This guy, I tell people, this man is dangerous as a politician. I kept warning Ruto, don't impeach this man. You know, I've been looking at this Ojwang thing, and you see, there is more than meets the eye. So much doesn't make sense. Logic is completely buried in this somewhere. You try to follow. Something refuses. Logic inakataa.
Great to see you. Hello there and welcome to Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Jadel Kabir. It is always a pleasure to have you for conversations on policy and politics here in this beloved country, Kenya. I'm here with Prof. Manyora. Great to see you. How are you doing today?
Wonderful.
I posted a TikTok video where you were saying that can Kalonzo fold his sleeves?
Yes.
You're saying Gachagua has his vest.
Yes.
But on the same video, you talked about Fred Matiang'i as a candidate that Kenyans might want, especially from the mountain region.
Yes.
We've also seen a lot of trips from Deputy President Kithure Kindiki in Gusii land, together with the lieutenants from that area, the likes of Osoro in that area. And I want to know, I think there are almost 6 trips in Gusii land. I want to know how much of a threat is this Fred Matiang'i? Let's start with that. Why are they going to Gusii?
I think for Matiang'i is more than just a threat. There is this obsession with Matiang'i, over-obsession. I don't know whether he scares them. I have not understood. Including the many rumors they create around him. Remember last time?
Yes.
Long before he came into the country, they were saying he was already in the country. And even now, there are many dates of his arrival created by the same people. I think there's an obsession with Matiang'i. You know, they thought with Raila, for example, Kenya Kwanza thought with Raila, already with them, Nyanza, the entire Nyanza region is theirs for the taking. Now, that significant block, Gusii votes, if that block goes away, then it's a big dent in the Nyanza vote basket. That's another reason.
How important is the Gusii vote when it comes to elections, even if you look at 2027? How important will this vote be for either sides?
You know, there are not that many in the manner in which you get Kalenjin, Luhya, and so on. But there are a significant number of votes. And it's not so much just a question of votes. I think it is an attempt to discourage Matiang'i. You know, you can imagine a situation where if the Omugusi did not embrace him, how difficult it will be to sell him elsewhere.
Okay.
You know, that narrative of cases being few is one of them. But there's also issue of even then, are they supporting him? And that explains why when he made his first appearance after declaring he wants the presidency,
he went straight.
Yeah, his opponents were not very happy with the reception he got in Gusii, because that's in Kenyan politics. The home people must own you, then project it to the rest of the country.
Do you think the Gusii nation has owned him?
Of course.
Because there is David Maraga, who people are saying he can actually get some chunk of votes from Gusii.
There is nothing.
Do you think Matiang'i will get 100%, as we are talking about Gachagua can get actually 100%?
Only a mad Gusii will fail to support Matiang'i. I have a few friends. One of them is called Joseph, and I will not say the other name because people know him. Only a few mad Gusiis.
Is he supporting Matiang'i?
Will fail to support Matiang'i. That one doesn't. Only a few. A handful. But Matiang'i is, Gusii and Matiang'i are one and the same. You know, that's how Kenyan politics works. So the people of home give you their blessing. It's for everybody. Even when you want to run for a parliamentary seat, you talk to your family. Then your village, even your clan, the people in your area, you even invite people and ask them, I'm thinking of this. Or somebody speaks on your behalf. This is our son. Anataka kuingia kwa kiwanja, mnaonaje? What? Yes! So that has worried people about Matiang'i. Because there are many people who thought, Matiang'i is not a, even if, you've heard people say, hata mtu akitaka MCA is better. They say that about politicians. So they were extending the same argument about Matiang'i. Matiang'i, even if he wanted to be governor, he can't get. Then the guy appears, and the entire community is crazy.
Talking about his national outlook.
Yes.
Some would wonder if he's going to take Gusii votes.
Yes.
Can he actually inherit Raila's bloc? What do you think about that when it comes to Matiang'i? Can he be the person who can take over the opposition as Raila has been doing, getting votes from the Nyanza region in full, coast, and even eastern?
You know what Raila was doing was picking a bit from everywhere. His own vote basket, the Luo vote, wasn't so much different from the Gusii vote. I can't quite have the figures, but you see, if you look at the national population, you get the Kikuyu, the Luya, the Kalenjin, the Luo. You know, Luo are number 4. And then in between there's one, then the Gusii are around there. So the difference is not that much. So Raila will always need to reach out to many other regions to be able to counter the serious block from Mount Kenya. So if Matiang'i will be starting with Mount Kenya and the Gusii, and whoever he will pick as his running mate, you can see he poses a serious threat, especially if Uhuru succeeds to give him the entire Mount Kenya. That'll be game shot. And remember also, when I move around in Western, where I come from, if there's one name that is mentioned more than any other name, it is Matiang'i's name for this election of 2027.
Why do you believe this is the case?
But I'm saying that's what is the case. I don't have to believe. I don't have to believe.
I'm asking, let me rephrase, why do you think this is the case, that it is Matiang'i's name that is popping up?
You know, there are many reasons why, and sometimes even try to find out why people are talking about Matiang'i. It's a very difficult thing. What is it? What is he bringing really? Who is he? It's so difficult to understand why the name had that kind of traction. The main thing was when the Gen Z thing happened, and the Gen Zs were looking for a person to take over the president, it is Matiang'i's name more than anybody's that featured. You know?
Yes.
I think because Gen Zs now are very, 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 very present because of this technology and what have you, and the digital platforms. I think they helped spread Matiang'i's name beyond what he himself would have perhaps done. So that will be one reason. But there's also something about Matiang'i, which is that whenever he went as a minister, he left a mark. People remember Matiang'i in the ICT sector. People remember Matiang'i most notably with the exams.
Yeah.
When he was at education. You know, he changed until even universities. I was talking to some investors who are putting up a very serious university, it is told, because there are no students. Many of the students were there because they were stealing. Today, universities can't get enough numbers because, let me explain this way. A C+ is the minimum you require to enter university in Kenya, whether private or public. Before Matiang'i, you could not go to university, public university, with a C+. Not even a B-. It was a B, and at some point it was actually even a B you couldn't. It was B with very good scores.
Yes.
But you could only be sure if you had B+. So those are the students between C+ and B. Those are the students we were teaching as privately sponsored students at the university, for example. We call them parallel, self-sponsored, module 2. Those are the same students, that catchment. Those who have qualified, but JAB, as then was, today is called COOPS. They were not admitted as government sponsored students. There's a big pool of them. So public universities got them as fee-paying students. Private universities got them. When Matiang'i came, hata kupata hiyo C+, ilikuwa shida.
Yes.
So all of a sudden universities are faced with a crisis. They have no students to admit, especially fee-paying students. Like at the University of Nairobi, I used to teach with a microphone in Taifa. Today you can't even get 10. Private universities are starved of students. So Matiang'i is remembered for that.
Then he went.
That's not something you can ignore if you are a Kenyan.
He went to the Ministry of Internal Security.
Yes.
As the Prime Cabinet Secretary. Then it was the super.
And you see the zeal with which he approached that job.
But then with that job,
people were supposed to be coming when he was chairing cabinet, but under the guise of subcommittee. Yeah? But basically he was chairing cabinet.
Yes.
And doing the work of the DP. By 7, if you have not come, you can't enter his meeting. That sort of discipline. Those are the things people are remembering.
With that docket, it comes with the question of Yala.
Yes, Yala.
River Yala.
Ruaraka.
People, and even I've just seen a video of Ruto back then. He was saying people are being slaughtered in a container here in Nairobi.
Yes, yes.
And this was all falling on Matiang'i's back.
Yes, yes, yes.
If you say he's someone that Kenyans would actually vote for,
yes, yes, yes.
Kenyans actually want someone who can follow the constitution.
Yes.
How will you deal
There are
with
many
this?
things there. First of all, Kenyans are not looking for an angel. That's a fact. Secondly, and that I'll be talking about this on Saturday. When Ruto says he cannot hand over power to people without a plan,
yes,
he's confusing a few things. When the people want to change, it is the change they want to bring about. It's not the quality of that change. Yeah, that's all. Don't bother voters with the quality of the people. Yeah. No, they just want the change. They want to exercise their power to vote and to remove you or bring somebody. Don't confuse those two with equality. No, you can. How many good MPs have lost their seats to useless idiots? You get it. So, yes. so that's one. That's two. Three. In matters of River Yala, when we mix politics with very serious issues like security, then we miss the point. Because our way of dealing with River Yala was simply to say it was Uhuru and Matiang'i. So now that is happening, what are we saying? Kware happened. You remember Kware?
Yes.
Huh? The death of Albert Ojwang in police cells is still fresh with us. And a number of other things have happened. So I think we miss the point all the time we have a crisis, a problem of this magnitude. We should find a way of addressing such issues holistically, instead of cheapening and making them political fodder, you know. So because we made that political fodder, we are with it now. After Ruto, we'll be with it. I don't want to claim to know what happened about River Yala. First, the only thing I know is that human life, sacrosanct, life, human life, taking human life. And I've talked about this repeatedly. And I've told people, you look around at people who have killed, whether they are people you know in your village, in your locality, your estate, within circles, where you work, in college, where. Just reflect on this. If you know of a person who killed, are they normal? Including those who used to kill when they're in the special branch. How did their lives end? What sort of families do they have? I keep reminding Kenyans, don't kill. So that's what I know is a bad thing. How human beings found themselves in River Yala, how they are finding themselves in all manner of places even today, including that Kware one, and including the Central Police Station and Bagadi. The only thing we can say is that human life is not something to play around. But you know, in River Yala and elsewhere, we didn't look for what I'm trying to say is this. Did we as Kenyans try to look for deep answers? or we just made it politics. Uhuru anaua watu na kutupa River Yala. Iko container. Did we go beyond that? If we had gone beyond that and interrogate this thing of River Yala, perhaps those things would not be happening today. So that now that they are happening, for example, I want to say things that may not be very popular. Is let's try and interrogate these things. You know, I've been looking at this Ojwang thing, and you see, there is more than meets the eye. So much doesn't make sense. Logic is completely buried in this somewhere. You try to follow, something refuses. Logic inakataa. Like the people found in the quarry. We must learn to look for the deep answers in issues so that we deal with them and they don't recur.
How should Matiang'i deal with this?
It is up to him.
Because he can decide to sweep it under the rug and not talk about it.
Yeah.
But people will use it for political mileage.
Yes.
It's Junet who says, if you want to play politics, you kill your son.
Yes.
Junet has said that. How should Matiang'i deal with this? Because people will come up.
You know, I believe Matiang'i will have an explanation to give to the people of this country if he finds it necessary. Sometimes you just ignore. Sometimes you can explain. I can theorize, for example, not to defend Matiang'i or anybody, but I can theorize. You know, it's quite common to find bodies in rivers, especially certain parts of rivers. Yeah? Where I come from, there is a place. Whenever somebody has drowned, you hear people talk of experts who know, wakona madawa, wanajua kutafuta maiti kama imepotea. No! It is just simple science. The river vomits dirt in certain points. So those people know, mtu akianguka kwa maji upstream, the most likely place the river will come and release the body is a place here. Either the way the river moves there, or there is whatever it is. That's where bodies will always be found. Hata huko kwetu we know, mtu akidrown, we know where to go and look. Someone drowns when there's heavy rain. The following day, people don't even look around there. They just go mjinga. We call it mjinga. They just go there, and the people that are there, you'll find the man has already removed your body. He's waiting to be paid.
So you should look for ways to
so
explain.
I'm saying things like those happen. Secondly, criminals have a way. There's no honor among thieves. Criminals have a way of killing each other. You know that? You know?
Yes.
When you double cross them.
Yes.
You get money you want to share. They are always revenge people. There are all sorts of killings in any country in the world.
Yes.
Then there are also police killings. There are also issues where police share. You've heard the story of ukitaka wezi wawane, uanze kupiga kelele yake ya Mungu, watu wamechukua pesa yangu 50,000 pickpocket.
Yes.
Kumbe it was 5,000. They will kill the one who carried the money.
Yes.
So true. Police work with the criminals. There are some police, we know that, and everybody knows, and the police themselves know. There are police who hire out guns to criminals. So sometimes, police can even kill somebody whose trail is becoming too hot. Atajulikana.
Yes.
And it will lead them to... There are all manner of things that happen. You get it? And then there is overzealous government officers who think they are doing well to protect the president, for example. And they may kill in the name of the president. And then, of course, regimes also kill people. As Orengo says, governments eat their own children.
Yes.
So, it's a whole array of things that could lead to people being found in River Yala when they are dead, floating on the river, whatever it is, which is really sad. So for Matiang'i, he's the one who knows the truth. It's him to share the truth, what he knows, with the people of Kenya.
All right.
Yeah.
Talk to me then about his personality. As I started speaking earlier, the show, I was telling you about, can he fold those sleeves? Talk to me about Matiang'i's personality when it comes to getting in the ring, because some would argue this is his first time. He hasn't run for any elective seat in the country. Does he have what it takes? You see,
there's something that goes for Matiang'i, the ability that he's a worker. That is no doubt about it. When he was at Manyora, asema kama kazi, mahali kuna kazi ndio mimi nakimbia. You could see the reaction.
Yes.
People believe Matiang'i can work. Number two, he's forceful. He's a bulldozer. And that's the sort of person many people want, especially young people. Because things in this country are so bad. that there are those who believe you need somebody who is almost a mad person to change this country. So that makes Matiang'i attractive. And that's why I laugh. In the many trips you talked about,
yes,
with Kindiki going to Kisiland to try and subdue Matiang'i in his homeland, I laugh because even the company the DP keeps, that's not a front. That's not a formation to go and fight Matiang'i, especially in his homeland. You need more serious people. So look at the people he's moving around with. You see? And look at the tactics they are using. It would appear that they also don't know who Matiang'i is and the sort of danger he can pose. You can't approach Matiang'i's home turf with those young fellows, I don't know who, Soro, this other one who is Nahejahel, Amazahel,
yes.
Such. Those are not people you can take to convince the Kisis. And no wonder, in many of those outings, the so-called empowerments, the Kisis just look at them. The attendance has been very poor. The reception has been very poor. Maybe that's why they keep going there, to improve the attendance, which means they don't understand.
Even with this development tours, they bring a lot of goodies.
Akisiman. You know, the Kikuyu will say, let us go and eat the money. But Kisis are very arrogant people. Some are sikuli kwako. You don't feed me. And Nyachai explained it. I see that when Akisiman tells you sikuli kwako, he means it. Because they have enough food. The Kisis are like Ugandans. You may care to know that during all the upheavals in Uganda, they never ran short of food. Even at the worst of moments during Amin's time, when we had government coming and falling at lightning speed, kina Professor Lule, kina Binaisa, and don't know about it too. Ugandans always continued selling food to Kenya. So you can equate that to Kisis. So it is there's a way in which there's a reality to that, sikuli kwako, because they have sufficient food. So those are not people you are going to take handouts to. And that's why I laugh at these people. First of all, they don't know they are dealing with a proud community, where Matiang'i comes from. And then they are using really featherweight politicians, almost non-entities. And, you know, I keep telling Kenyan politicians, they should learn from Moi. Moi was a professor of politics. Moi will try to approach a politician. We have heard stories, some of them may not even be true, that when Mudavadi left Kano and briefly joined the Rainbow with Raila, Saitoti, Kalonzo, and all those people before joining Kibaki, stories are told that Moi just went to Hana, Mudavadi's mother, ambia yu mtoto tumetoka mbali. You know, those are stories. But it shows you the sort of approach, even with Nyachai. You know, Nyachai parted the way with Moi. And I think we also hear Moi try to reach Nyachai. Nyachai, you know, he's also a very arrogant man, a typical Kisi. So, Moi looked for elders. He also went through Nyachai's mother. I was surprised to learn she was still alive. Moi went looking for Nyachai's mother, but not saying I'm looking for Nyachai's mother. No, I'm looking for the wife of Senior Chief Nyandusi. You know, that's
that approach.
I'm looking for her.
So what are you saying basically? Government cannot deal with the Matiang'i wave in Kisiland when they're using this approach. Is this what you're saying?
Approach is not working. And you see your reception is very poor. You don't ask yourself why. The people in Mount Kenya will rush there because you are giving them money. And Gusii man is a proud man. Sikuli kwako. You know, that's a Kisi man for you.
Yeah.
So, other people may say, we don't support this man, but let's go and eat money. Kisi men may not do that.
Let me ask you
They may leave children, young boys and girls to go.
Inevitably or eventually,
yes.
Do you think Matiang'i will be the flag bearer of the opposition?
It is very tricky. Because, like I've analyzed before, there are ways in which if you look at this thing, it belongs to Kalonzo. And if you are being fair, if you are basing selection on fairness, it's unfair for young people to come, not boys, young people to come and be given instead of, what is his name?
Kalonzo.
Okay? Then you look at it, Manyora is also so forceful. It's like he's gone all out alone. The rest have collapsed while chasing prey. Wanafukuza swara. Watu wameanguka chini wanahema na yeye ameendelea mpaka ameichukua.
Yes.
Because he has the stamina. Alafu akileta hapa apatie kisu mtu agawe. Sio yeye atagawa. You see again?
Yes.
But there's also what goes for Matiang'i. That if you are to do a survey, if they said, we want to be very scientific in who we choose to be the flag bearer, we want to listen to the ground, Matiang'i will carry the day. Because his name is across the country. So there's nobody will compete with him. If they did a survey, you remember even Ruto with Kindiki and they tried to vote among themselves, the MPs. Every time Kindiki was winning badly, winning badly. They then reached out. They did some random survey, polling of about I don't know how many thousand people. Unfortunately for Gachagua, it was still coming Kindiki. So if they were to do that sort of selection, basing themselves, they look for like Angela Mbudo, of an info trucks. Tell her, do 3 polls. So we do the average. In the first poll, Matiang'i will have almost 65%. In the second poll, it will now get to 70. The third poll is 75. He will beat them hands down. So, but you can't say that's how they'll do it.
So you can't really tell.
You can't tell, and you can't tell who among them will campaign most for it. Again, it's a question of how you go for it.
Yes.
You see, Gachagua, and I want Kalonzo to listen to this and Matiang'i, because Gachagua had 2 problems. 2. Yes. I was talking to a young man, Bruno, this morning. Gachagua had 2 challenges, 2 hurdles to the president. Watch your judiciary, your impeachment. That won't work.
Yes.
You won't stop Gachagua because that one. Anybody banking on Mudavadi, anybody banking on stopping Gachagua through the impeachment, forget that will not work. It would have worked in 2013 to stop Ruto and who?
And
Uhuru. So it will not work. Not with Gachagua. But there are 2 hurdles. Number 1 is Mount Kenya. Gachagua was portrayed as a Mount Kenya person, as a tribalist. And this thing was selling. That narrative was so powerful. I kept wondering, will he manage it? With a stroke of a pen,
yes,
as the saying goes.
Yeah.
Hi cousins. Hi cousins.
Yeah.
Makuzo mpo. Kwisha, he has demolished that. That one imeisha.
Yeah.
He's no longer a Mulima person.
Yes.
This guy, I tell people, this man is dangerous as a politician. I kept warning Ruto, don't impeach this man. This guy is a dangerous card. So the one of Mulima, tribalist imeisha, ameingiza Makuzo. And the guys have not recovered from it. It now remains 1.
Yeah.
The second challenge which remains now is somehow people are so excited with what he's doing. People love him so much for what he's doing. People love what he's doing, the way he's hitting at Ruto. And the way that's why he was able to bring the mountain together in one mountainous fury against Ruto. And he has sustained it. But in a sort of contradiction, some kind of paradox, there's another word people use, that the same people who love him for doing that don't see him as a presidential candidate. So that the Mount Kenya people are debating between Kalonzo and Matiang'i. And yet the one guy who has done wonders for them, to bring them together, to unite them against Ruto, it's not crossing their mind that that guy can be a president. That is a hurdle that is left after he has dealt with the one of being a tribalist, the one of Mount Kenya. Hiyo akimaliza.
How can Matiang'i utilize this challenge for his advantage? The challenge that people are not seeing Gachagua as a presidential candidate.
That's the challenge he has. These are some of the reasons I'm saying these guys ought to come to us. We ought to think for them. And I want to tell Kenyan politicians, if you want to play politics the way it was played in 1963, you will never make it. Election is now a science. And you need thinkers around you. If Raila had run his campaign professionally with thinkers, talking of a professional campaign, I'm looking at Jubilee in 2017, 2013.
Yeah.
Professionally run. You get it?
Yes.
I'm looking at Ruto in 2022. A lot of brain power went into his campaign. It's not just that, not just the money, not just the Bible. There was a lot of brain. At current, there was a lot of thinking. Kina Chirichiri were not sleeping. Ruto had people whose task was not rallies, was to think through that campaign how they would win.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying necessarily that they won, but
how they would get there.
They are in State House.
How they would get there.
Yes. And they got a lot of votes.
Yes.
Okay? Perhaps not enough to, but they got.
And they got there.
They got there. This particular election, especially for the opposition, beginning with you becoming the flag bearer, requires a lot of thinking. You need men and women who can think on their feet.
Let me finally ask you this, because I asked you about Gachagua last time. Can Matiang'i do it man solo? If he isn't given the ticket by the opposition, can he go out with Uhuru support?
That's part of the thinking. If I was hired, I would look first at the possibility of him being the presidential flag bearer. In other words, what are the chances that those people will support him? If he gave me that task, that's what I will do. I will analyze, look at the trends, look at what's going on, and say, they will give you. So, what do you do to make them give you? You stand a chance. So, what do you do to increase that chance? Or if I found that these guys will not give him, I would then quickly tell him, let's pursue a path where you disregard. You know, you can ignore them also. I don't want to say so much because then they will not pay me. This time I want to be paid.
You said
and I'm very clear about it.
Yes.
No, this time I want to think for people and work for them. And they want to pay for it. We say, okay, these guys pursuing your president through that team is a waste of time. They are disorganized, for example, or Gachagua is determined to get it, or Kalonzo would not give anybody. So let's ignore. Let's now pursue. Then there's that which you must do. And top of the strategy is to work as if they are not there. Until they feel it.
They come looking for you.
And then they feel, until, that's how Raila works. Until you actually run towards him. That's what Matiang'i would need to do. But he will need to talk to people like Manyora.
Hillman Analytica.
Hillman Analytica. That's why we have that company waiting for them. This time round, we want to work for people professionally.
Thanks for tuning into that conversation. Would you vote for Matiang'i if you see him in that ballot paper? Have yourself a lovely rest of your day.